God, a wonderful role, isn't it? Playing FreeGD and having the whole server beg for you to guard them. But let's not forget that you're stuck in the one, the only God Lounge. And the only way to get out actually is to have the signal role. So let's check when the last batch of SG application was. Oh, right. But don't worry, according to the SM's skibidi managers, it is only a matter of time before the next batch of SG applications reopen. So, welcome everyone to the correction of the July 2023 Signal application, aka the hardest SG batch ever. At the menu today, headaches, regrets of your life choices, probably even passing out, who knows, I don't know, maybe you know. And with that, are you ready? You don't have much of a choice anyways. Before you watch this video, we highly recommend you to watch also the December 2023 correction, as we will not get back on the information section and straight on pass onto the theory section.
Raro, why don't you skip the theory section?
Hell no, man. What the fuck?
Do I really need to argue about this? Starting off with our first theory question. How many stations on the wireline network are not in Zone F? This one is pretty straightforward. Pull up the wireline map and see what stations are in Zone F. The others will not be in it. The whole range of stations from New Harbor to Benton, Queenslade and Connolly are all within Zone F. One wireline branch leaves Zone F between Cambridge Street Parkway and Ashland Park. We can already state that the following stations are not in Zone F: Airport West, Airport Terminal 2, James Street, Farley, Rosedale Village, and Esterfield. So, since you're supposed to be 13 plus and able to count, that makes up to a total of 6 stations. But are you sure the Airport West branch is the only wireline branch that is not in Zone F? If yes, you're an absolute genius, but in a bad way because Morgantown exists and you just failed the question. So, guys, what is 6 plus 1? Come on, I know you can do it. It is... The answer is 7. Anyways, passing on to our second theory question. Which head code can no connect service have? For this question, we shall use the elimination process. Please also note that this is a question that was before 2.0. For obvious reason, we shall ask it in the version 2.2.5. We can first of all eliminate the head code 3, as every depot train, including Connect, have 3 in their head code. We can also remove head code 2, as 3 beginner routes like Stafford Central to Stafford Airport Central have 2 in their head code. Same goes for one with fast services routes such as Willowfield to Lane by the Sea. However, head code 9 are no longer available for Connect services, only fast express services and special services have it. Since this question is only one correct answer, we can be sure that the last one is false. Passing on to our third theory question, a true or false one. A service at Fayme Green Depot heading to Leighton West can pass through the fast tracks at Fayme. For this question, the best way to verify was to go through all the routes terminating at Leighton West and see if...
Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh. Seems like Edgemay to Leighton West can only go to Fayme Depot for the only spawning location. Well, that was an easy one. Every application contains usually 2 to 3 easy questions that do not require much thought. Make sure to take advantage of them. The previous sentence is not to be taken out of context, by the way. Lastly, for our fourth theory question, we have a train waiting for departure stops showing TRTSO station before you could change its signal. What could cause this? For this question, we shall use the elimination process, since we have to deal with multiple possible correct answers. The dispatcher respond. In this case of dispatchers, it is only possible if a dispatcher dispatched on a red aspect. This answer is false. The train closed its doors on red. Yes, closing doors on red results to such a scenario. The train despawned. How can a train despawn and still be waiting for departure? False. The trains need to load for longer. This is a troll answer, and as stated in the December 2023 correction, these are false. So, only the second one here is correct, even though it is multiple possible answers question. And we are done with our 4 theory questions. Obviously, you guys will have 10 questions and will have to get the maximum out of them. The passing rate usually is 7 out of 10, but that could change in the future, who knows. Once you have made sure that you have fully done your best on the theory section, you can pass on to the scenario section. This section can be seen as the most important one. However, no section is more important than another, because if you do not pass theory, you do not pass on to scenarios. And if you do not succeed on scenarios, well, you just fail the whole application. So let's go on with our first question. Which train do you give priority through the junction, and why? Obviously, we first of all need to recreate the scenario, as no clear image has been taken. Also, we have an additional information, which is that 9S23 is on RO81, the superfast express route. I truly hope that you wish to do the best of performances within your application, because any answer that you give that has a structured enough justification will get you some points. But what is the answer that will give you all the points?
Yeah, boy.
You need to apply what is stated in the operations guide, timetables and priority section. Sometimes while signaling, you may find yourself in a situation where to better reduce delays. You may need to go against the priority order present on the previous page. This should only be done in certain situations and is recommended for experienced signalers only. And even though you might not be anywhere close to being an experienced signaler, we want you to do your best towards that goal. Hence why the correct answer here is knowing that 9S30 is just about to depart West Wyvern and 9S23 will skip every station until Stafford Central apart Leighton City, we should clear 9S23 first in order to reduce long-term potential delays, followed by 9S30. You could also have done an analysis of the trains, but the additional knowledge stated here was the most important. The next signaling scenario is the hardest so far I ever had to cover due to a few details not noticeable on the surface. Are you ready?
No! God, please, no! No!
Well, let's just go, I don't care.
Bruh.
The question is the following. What order should trains be giving clearance to get them to their next station, and why? First of all, let's see who has the biggest of priorities. At the top of the food chain, you have our good old friend 9S30, the express from the previous scenario, about to enter the Leighton area. You also have 9L34, but its path doesn't collide with 9S30's, so it does not really matter. You also have 1L12 coming into Leighton City from Leighton Stafford Road that has a priority thanks to its head code on 2T81. Also pulling into Leighton City from Leighton Stafford Road. But there is, once again, a cache here that we will see later on in the summary. Lastly, we have 2K12 that is ready to depart at Leighton City, and only due to the fact that they take a different path than 9L34, 2K12 may depart first. Let's pass on to the summary and try to hold on.
Emotional damage! Emotional damage! Emotional damage!
Nope. But if you have any questions, feel free to contact me in Discord DMs. First of all, no lateness priority can be applied as all trains are on time. Even though 9L34 has a headcode priority over 2K12, 2K12 is ready to depart while 9L34 is not ready yet. Therefore 2K12 can depart first and let Leighton City Platform 2 free. However, they will meet 9S30 on their journey to Leighton West. Due to a headcode priority, we must let 9S30 into Leighton City Platform 5 and 6 before clearing 2K12 into the Leighton area, Leighton West to be precise. Of course, 9L34 can be cleared as soon as they show train ready to start. Concerning our last two trains, they can be both cleared at the same time only if 1L12 comes from Leighton Stafford Road Platform 2 and 2T81 comes from Leighton Stafford Road Platform 3, as 2T81 can only go to the terminating platforms 3 and 4, while 1L12 can only go to the platforms 1 and 2. Otherwise, you would have to let 1L12 first in due to a headcode priority. This ceiling scenario is solved. We shall now pass on to the moderative scenarios present within this application. The three other questions in this application were actually not ceiling ones, or barely. They were more focused on how would you be able to solve scenarios that only signalers can moderate. This is also, of course, a great way to train for supervisor applications. Once again, here's the question that I will not cover and that you can try to solve. Alright, and once you've solved it, feel free to just drop me a DM as you wish, and I will give you the correction. Best of luck. Now, with that being said, we still need to solve two other scenarios. The first one was the following. A player in the chat is complaining about being held at a red light whilst you're signaling. What would you do? The first reflex you should have in such a case is to check if the user is really in such a situation. If not, you have to request them to stop creating drama within the game chat and move on. If they are indeed stuck at a red light, try to explain them why. Usually it is most likely due to a flood or a Benson blocker. But sometimes the signal can also be bugged and they have to respawn. The answer to such a question would be, in the case where they are not stuck at a red light, I would warn them to not create any drama within the game chat. However, if they are stuck, I would explain them the cause for this. For instance, these could be a flood, a blocker, or a train approaching with more priority than them. I would make sure to stay as professional as possible. This is the bare minimum for such a question. You can also add an example of what you could tell the user in the chat, like, please note that you're currently stuck behind a large queue of trains that all wish to enter Newry. Expect up to 15 minutes of delays. Obviously, that's a joke. Now that the scenario is solved, let's pass on to the next one. A driver alerts you that their train is stuck behind a slow driver. Upon looking on the situation, you notice that the train ahead of them is laggy. What would you do? Your first reflex should be trying to contact the laggy user as they are slowing down the traffic. If they are not answering while still slowing down the traffic, you sadly have to respawn them after a few warnings. Of course, there are exceptions, such as if they will take a different route than the driver soon enough. For instance, they go to Willowfield while the train behind goes to Morgantown, both from Stafford Central. If you're able to contact them, request them to respawn in order to turn their render distance all the way down along with their graphics quality, in order to reduce their lag. An example of this would be, hey, we have noticed that you're experiencing important amounts of lags, slowing down the traffic behind you. We know it's not your fault, but we would recommend you to respawn and turn your graphics and render distance all the way down. If this does not work for you, we highly recommend you to go on a server with way less users. Thank you. Once again, make sure to stay as professional as possible. This is due to the fact that we treat others as we want to be treated. This is called respect. If you're lucky enough to come across moderative questions within the applications, these are usually easy points. If you think of every potential scenario that could result out of them. And we're finally done with this application's correction. Once again, feel free to try on the scenario that I did not cover and drop me DMs once you solved it in order for you to get the correction. You can also drop me a DM for any potential question you might have. And with that out of the way, I really do hope for you all the best in the upcoming similar application. If you paid attention to this video and the previous one, you should be able to get a pretty easy position within our training similar program. If you wish me to do any kind of other videos, feel free to let me know in the comments. I always answer to every little comment of every single video, so don't be shy. Alright, now enjoy 2 clips of me just failing badly. Just badly, simply enough. This scenario section can be seen as the most important. However, no section, what the man? However, what? Good. However, no section is more important than another, because if you do not pass the theory section, you will not pass on to the scenario section. And if you do not succeed on the scenario section... Did I just really lag out? I wanna... Oh my god, goddamn. Oh. I'm stupid. I'm stupid.